I want to talk to you a little bit about New Year's resolutions. I want to talk to you a little bit about what you might want to be thinking about at the beginning of this new year. So, this podcast is all about you. It's not about me. It's not about society. It's about you, your family, and what you want to do in 2023. I'm going to start out by talking about New Year's resolutions, and I don't think they're all bad, by the way. In fact, I was reading some research recently that said people who kind of have a goal of something they want to do compared to those who actually make a commitment, make a resolution, those that make the resolution are like 10 times more likely to achieve it than those that just kind of have the goal in their head. Now, that doesn't mean resolutions are a great way to get things done, but you're 10 times more likely to do it if you at least make a resolution to do it than just having it in your head. So resolutions, if they're done right, can be good as opposed to just having an awareness. Awareness is like nothing. You don't get anything done. I was really curious about where this whole idea of resolution started. So I was doing some research on it a couple months ago. And it actually started like 4,000 years ago. The Babylonians were the ones that started this. Now, for them, New Year's was in March, not January. They had pagan gods, and this was a time that they set up to say, okay, we're going to resolve that the New Year starts now for them in March, and they're going to pay off their debts and return anything they had borrowed from their neighbors. I don't guess they had lawnmowers back then, but they still borrowed stuff. And if they kept those resolutions, the idea was that the gods would smile on them during the year. And if they didn't pay off their debts and return things they had borrowed, then things would go badly for them. That wasn't good. So they wanted to keep those resolutions. Then, like 14 BC, Julius Caesar started playing with the calendar. And that's when the new year started to be in January, or Janus, as they referred to it then. And that was a two-faced God. And the idea was the one face looked back at what had happened in the previous year, and one looked forward. They started making resolutions about how they wanted to change things from the year before. And then in like 1740, John Wesley, who was kind of the father of Methodism, started it as a sort of a spiritual thing to fight all of the traditions of just getting drunk on New Year's Eve. So that's kind of where it began then. But you'd think we've had 4,000 years to practice this, that we would be a little better at it than we are, but we're not. If you look to see how many people keep their resolutions, it varies from like 8% keep them. Some say as many as 46% keep them. But either way, it's really poor. And if you're going to make them, I want you to keep them. So I'm going to talk about how to actually set a goal and make it. Now, let's talk about this for a minute. About half of the people, 45%, make New Year's resolutions. The reason I said I don't really hate them, even though they don't have a great success rate, is even though this is arbitrary, I'm for any day that you sit down and take stock and say, hey, I think I want to do a better job. I think I want to be a better person, a better mother, a better father, a better citizen, a better me. I think anytime you sit down and take stock and say, hey, what can I do better? That's a good thing. I think if we did it every month, I think if we did it once a week or whatever, I don't think it'd be a bad idea. But the fact that we set aside a day out of the year to do it, hell, why not? Of those that fail, it's interesting, 52% of the people predict they'll succeed, and as few as 8% do succeed. I said as high as 46%. In some studies, it says they succeed, but still less than half. 35% say that they don't make it because it was unrealistic. They set something up that they couldn't get there. It was just too high a goal. A third of them say they just don't track it. About a quarter of them say they just forgot. They intended to do it, they just forgot. 10% say they just set too damn many and they couldn't keep up with it. So we're going to keep you from making all of those mistakes. Have you made a New Year's resolution? Let me ask you that. Think about it right now. Have you made a New Year's resolution, and what was it? The 10 most common, you could probably make the list out. People want to eat healthy, get more organized, learn a new skill or a hobby, live life to the fullest. They want to save more and spend less. They want to quit smoking. They want to spend more time with friends and family. I'm not saying these are bad. I'm just saying what they are. They want to travel more. They want to improve their job performance. They want to exercise more, live more healthy. And here's the problem with those, if there is a problem with them. It's kind of hard to measure some of these things. You want to eat more healthy. I mean, something like saving more and spending less is actually measurable. You could actually measure that. But if you're going to set a goal, you want it to be measurable, right? But before we get into setting what your actual goals are, let me talk to you here. And I don't want you to tune out because you think, oh, we're just talking about New Year's resolutions. I don't care about that. I can watch Dr. Phil this afternoon, so I'm just going to tune out of this one and listen to music while I'm walking. No. Hang with me here because I'm going to talk to you about something that I really want you to listen to because this is for you. This is for you. I want to talk to you first about setting yourself up for success in 2023 before you do anything else. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things that can change your life this year. There's not anybody today you can listen to that's going to give you facts that I'm going to give you right now that can have a bigger impact on your life. Now, I know that sounds egotistical for me to say. It's not that I've invented this stuff. I just collected the information to give it to you so you can make some differences. And the biggest mistake in life is you think you have time, and you don't. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. And once it's lost, you can't get it back. Time is a really unique commodity. Think about it. You can't get it back. You can't own it, but you can spend it. And it's the one thing you can't create more of. You can make more money. You can gather more stuff. There's that old saying, the one with the most toys at the end wins. Now, you can't have more time. So I want to talk to you about your time. You may think you have time, but you don't. You don't have time to fix your relationships. You don't have time to bond with your children. You don't have time to do the things that you think you're going to get around to. You don't have time. So I want to talk to you about how to maximize the time that you have. And to do that, I've got to get you to be as efficient as you can possibly be. If this is the one time a year that we take stock, that we step back and say, am I making the most out of my life? Then let's use this time. This is no dress rehearsal. You don't get a do-over. This is it. This is 2023. You don't get 2023A, 2023B, 2023C. This is it. You're going to have this one time, this 1 year. And you are the only you that will ever exist. You may share the name Anita, Connie, Betty, Bob with somebody else, but you are the only you that will ever exist. There will never be another you in the history of the world. It is you, and this is the only time you're ever going to be here. So are you making the most of it? And I'm going to bet you the answer is no. The answer is no. You are not making the most of it, and I want to change that for you starting right now. I want to change it for you right now. And I'm going to give you a couple of things that make a huge difference, and here's the first one. When you have a positive attitude, when you have a really optimistic approach to things, research tells us you are 30% smarter. Think about what I just said. When you have a positive attitude, when you're leaning forward, you got a smile on your face, you're optimistic, you are 30% smarter than when you don't. However smart you are, however much brain power you've got to solve problems, to get tasks done, to figure stuff out, if you are optimistic, if you wake up in the morning and say, I am not going to go through this life kicking and screaming, I'm not going to go through hanging my head. I'm going to go through optimistic. If you're listening to me right now, I want you to sit up straight. I want you to stand up straight. I want you to put your shoulders back and lift your head up. Take a really deep breath. Look around. Find something pretty. Find something that's pleasant to look at. Have a positive attitude right now. Think of something positive. Think of something you're proud of. Think of something you're happy about. Have a positive attitude. Just even right now, that's what I'm saying. Sit up straight, stand up straight, put your shoulders back. Just even posture can make you more optimistic. We go through life too much slumped over, hanging our head down, rubbing our face. Oh, God, what am I going to do? Holy shit, what a crummy day. Look, you got to be positive. Think of what your blessings are. Everybody whines and complains about things that aren't going right. What about the things that are? We look back at 2022 and we think about, oh my God, things aren't affordable. And we've got all this divisiveness in the country. We've got all this stuff going on. That's true. That's true. There are things wrong. No question about it. But we live in the greatest country in the world. Do we have problems? Yes, we do. Of course we do. I'm not Pollyannish about it. I love this country. I love America. I love it enough that I can admit its flaws, faults, and fallacies and still be optimistic. You need to be optimistic about your life. And listen, if I can be optimistic with all the people and problems that I see every day, you know who I deal with. You know the problems people bring to me. Every letter is, Dr. Phil, you're our last hope. We're desperate. You're our last stop on the subway. It's like, oh my God, why didn't you write me first? And some of them did. They had trouble getting through. I get it. But if you're optimistic, if you have a positive attitude, you're 31% smarter. That's the actual statistic, but think about it. You're 30% smarter. Think of the tasks that you've struggled with, the problems you've tried to solve, the kid issues tried to deal with. If you were really optimistic about it and you were almost a third smarter, how much more would you have brought to the table?